Well, welcome back. And then, Dr. Hamisu, I mean, moving forward now, do you expect to see the DSS performing these functions of investigating and then prosecuting cases, perhaps financial cases, about anyone?
Well, as I said earlier on, we've been advocating for collaboration and synergy building in such a way that all the security agencies can tap into the professionalism of one another, depending on the case they want to prosecute. And if EFCC, ICPC, and the government of the day feels that, okay, DSS can be really decisive in the fight against corruption in this country, I have nothing against that. Because as for me, the most important thing is to ensure that corruption is really dealt with, because the basis and the bane of our underdevelopment as a nation up to this moment is corruption. And I'm even happy that the CJN alluded to that fact in the clip you just played, and the president emphasized that. But for me, it's something that has to do with those that are leading us, and if they feel that, okay, they can give us a result and DSS can play a role in this, I have no objection, because I am equally open to scrutiny. If I've done anything wrong, the DSS or any other agency of government can come forward and pick me. But if I've not done anything wrong, I have nothing to fear. All we want is to ensure that we have a better future for our children, the future that we did not enjoy, the future that corruption denied us because some people were saddled with responsibilities that they abuse and pervert.
And then in that same clip too, he also spoke about the fact that people should not be afraid to debate these kind of issues. And when people bring up any issue in a society, look, it's a democracy. People are entitled to their opinion. No one should shout anybody down or accuse anyone of peddling or having this kind of perspective. All they need to do is provide superior argument. And then they say the reason why some of them bring up this kind of cases, look, we need to strengthen our institutions. Take, for instance, how many could you say of the corruption cases have been concluded ever since we started fighting corruption in this administration?
Yeah, and that was the point the president actually made. And he fingered the judiciary as part of the problem why we're having inconclusive cases in the court. And the CJN, with due respect to his exalted office, he was economical with the truth when he said that even the NBA president, when he alluded to the fact that it is the prosecutor that equally set the basis for the outcome of the case by filing charges against a supposed person that's supposed to be prosecuted. Now, the truth of the matter is that corruption is an elaborate thing. It involves many. When you look, corruption has a demand and supply function. When you have people that are willing to commit a crime, they collaborate because the laws are all encompassing, they are interwoven and interrelated. And then you cannot get a prosecutor to water down the charges if there is no willing judges that will pass judgment based on the water down charges. So it is something that they all reinforce each other to give us what we were having. So it's a dialectical interplay between the opposing forces, corruption and absence of corruption. When you have corruption, things don't work fine. And what we are witnessing in the courts, okay, how do you see this? If not for the revolution that I'm beginning to see in the judiciary. Previously in Nigeria, I have a case, I take you to court. Instead of going to that court, we will leave the substance of the case in that court and go to other courts to start questioning whether the court I've taken you to has jurisdiction to try that case or not. And then, before you know it, on this very particular issue of jurisdiction, we are going to spend 3 years so that by the time the case finally returned to where we are supposed to begin from, Nigerians have even forgotten about the issue. So moving forward, it's part of the conversation. Whatever we feel that the government has not done wrong, we point them out, and that is why we are talking, and that is why it's democracy. And that is why nobody is stoning anybody, nobody is insulting anybody, nobody is calling anybody names, but we are still discussing, we are still debating. And there are people that want result. For me, I'm for result. I don't care about the method, in as much as nobody is subjected to any physical or emotional injury. I am not for that. I am for result, but that the right of the person must be protected. For instance, taking the person to court, granting the person access to his lawyers, but that the person should not be arrested. This is what I find very, very unacceptable. And the fact that some persons on the social media will say that these persons are highly placed people, and then they were arrested like a common criminal, for God's sake, simply because you belong to a class that elevated you over and above Nigerians. Nigerians have been subjected to the same process. We've been arrested on the street, in our bedrooms. Nobody has said anything. But simply because the people that are arrested are big men, in quote, big men in society. People that are being accused of subverting the process. So for me, the day you subvert the process, or you are suspected to have subverted the process, it means that all the privileges and respect that has been accorded to you has been withdrawn because you did not live up to expectation. This is how I see it. But I'm not taking away the right of those people that felt otherwise. It is still their entitlement. So it's always like that in a democracy.
Well, the other point,
will have their say, the majority will have their way.
And the other thing about this, I mean, you keep talking about results. Well, yes, it is a result. It is a method that people also talk about. That's why they say, look, adherence to the rule of law is sacrosanct, and that's why we have them. That's what institutions are built upon. You can't expect people to violate certain laws, or people ask questions whether or not laws have been violated in achieving your results. But not that anyone can be arrested. Nobody is above the law. Nobody should think that they're above the law. That's primary. But then people just look to see if even the law enforcement agencies are abiding by the law, because they themselves are not also above the law. So those are the kind of issues and points that many are trying to make at this point in time. But we have to thank you for coming on this morning. Dr. Abu.
Can I add something quickly?
All right, briefly.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well,
okay, briefly. For me, corruption is okay. Corruption is something that has led to many deaths, and by that reason alone, anybody that is found to be wanting should be prosecuted and should be arrested, whichever way they choose. I don't have a problem with that.
There's no problem.
I will continue to maintain this stand.
Yeah, that's very clear. I mean, that's why there are processes to adhere to for us to get to that. Dr. Abu Hamisu is also of the Center for Political Research, Education and Development. Thank you for coming on this morning. Well, we will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.